welcome to Pianoforte. My name is Angela Marshall and I love to crochet. I honestly don't remember when I learned, but I was young enough to be taking naps because sometimes when I was supposed to be napping, I would hide under the covers and crochet. So, clearly I like to do it. And all I knew how to do then was the chain stitch. It's just the process of pulling yarn through this loop. That's all it is. So you take the yarn and you pull it through. And so, once you figure it out, you can just sit there and do it without thinking about it. You don't even have to look at it. And so you can end up with a pretty long chain, and I really recommend you practice this stitch quite a bit before you move on to the next stitch. So what are you going to do with this? Okay, this is, it's a string with an interesting texture. So I made a project today that will give you something to do with those chains. I'm going to make headbands. To make a headband, you need a crochet hook, any size will work, yarn, scissors, and a measuring tape. You also need elastic and either a needle and thread or fabric glue and something to clip with, such as a paper clip, bobby pin, or clothespin. Start by making a chain that's 26 inches long. Then make 4 more, so you have 5 chains altogether. Line up your chains and tie them into a knot, leaving 1 to 2 inches loose at the end. Pull it tight. Now, working from the knotted end, loosely weave and twist your chains. This step is optional. You certainly don't have to do that, or you could do more. You could even braid them if you want to. Now, tie the other end, again leaving 1 to 2 inches loose. Take your scissors and cut a short piece of yarn, about 3 to 4 inches. Now take your crochet hook and stick it through the last loop on each of your loose ends. When you're finished, it should look like this. Take the piece of yarn you just cut, loop it around your hook, and pull it through the loose ends. Make sure your crochet hook is facing down, otherwise it will catch. Hold on to one end and pull the other through. Now take those 2 ends and tie them together. This will secure all your loose ends and get it ready to sew or glue. Now take your scissors and cut a piece of elastic 2 to 3 inches long. Take your needle and thread if you're sewing, and sew the elastic to your chain. You want to cover just a little less than half of the elastic with this chain, so make sure it overlaps. Once you're done sewing, make sure that the chains and the elastic are firmly attached. Put away your needle and use your scissors to cut all the loose thread and yarn. Now follow the same process as before to attach the other side of your headband. You want to leave just a little bit of elastic showing so your headband has plenty of room to stretch. Again, use your scissors to cut away all the loose thread. And that's it. If you don't want to sew, no problem. Feel free to just glue your headband. I recommend using a fabric glue, something that's pretty strong. Get plenty of glue on the elastic. Press your headband onto that, and then you'll need something to clip it with because you'll need to let it dry at least a few hours. I would recommend overnight. I used a paper clip because that's what I had handy. You could also use a bobby pin or a clothespin or any sort of clamp. Repeat that for the other side and your headband's done. And if you don't want to hand sew it, feel free to sew it on a machine. I don't have a good place to set my machine up right now, so I decided, plus I prefer hand sewing anyway, so I decided to hand sew it, but by all means, if your machine is set up, it's handy. Use the machine if you want. If you have any questions, post comments. This is, again, a pretty simple project. I just wanted to show you something that you could do with the chain stitch because you're making a lot of chains to practice. I have had friends who will just, take a whole skein of yarn, something this size, and chain the whole thing, and then, you've got this really long chain and nothing to do with it. So now you can make some headbands. Make them for yourself, make them for your friends. go make some headbands.